to you live from Numancia, Aklan in Western Visayas in the Philippines. I'm having my morning cup of tea in my coffee with Gino cup here. Green tea is my choice now. I'll switch to green tea. Let me just make sure I'm online here before I get started. Beautiful day here in Numancia, Aklan, man. It's like a beautiful sunrise this morning. It came up early. Looks like really it's summertime. The sun is coming up earlier here. Nothing but blue skies. Look at that sun right there. Look at how bright that is. It's like blinding sunshine here this morning at 6:41. Already blinding sunshine here. Good morning, Kevin Shores. Hope you are doing well, my friend. Hope you're doing well. All right, it looks like I'm online. So we've been having amazing weather here. No rain at all, for the past few days. I actually have my internet hooked up to my Blue Yeti, my power station, so I should not lose my my connection. The only way I would lose connection if my internet goes down. Yeah, that does happen here too. The internet goes out too. But for the past couple of days, we have been getting power outage here. Unscheduled power outage. Practically every single day, at least once a day. It doesn't last long. A lot of times, the most it will last is like an hour, but it's still an inconvenience, right? When you get a power outages. That's why I made sure I had my internet hooked up to my Blue Yeti power station, so I do not get disconnected from you guys. That can be annoying, right? You're watching and it does that loop thing. So hopefully, I got the electricity part covered. Now the internet, there's nothing I can do with that. If my Calibo cable internet all of a sudden decides not to work on me, nothing I can do with that. Like I said, the weather, amazing weather, 74 degrees Fahrenheit here right now in Numancia, Aklan. Nothing but sunshine. I actually had my morning walk already. I had to change my shirt because I was sweating from my morning walk this morning. Joe Cano, hey, Brother Joe, hello. Hey, Beluz, good morning, my brother in Leyte. Headed, all right, go ahead, man. You got to take care of that farm, brother. You got to take care of that farm. Enjoy the heat. I know, man. It's been hot. During the day, we're hitting 90-degree temperatures now during the day. By noontime, usually the hottest is like right after noon, all the way to like 3 in the afternoon. Man, I think everybody just shelters during that time here in the Philippines right now because it is so hot. Pag-asa website. I'm looking at it, Metro Manila, the rest of the country. Says here partly cloudy, isolated rain showers, but here in Numancia, Aklan, we are not getting any rain showers at all. It's nothing but sunshine. Pretty soon here, we're probably going to be experiencing more drought conditions, if anything. Also, I've always provide an update on the dollar to peso exchange rate. And as of closing last night, it closed at 60.55, all-time high for the dollar to peso exchange rate. Like I've reported before, I've read an article, President Marcos, the president of the Philippines, he is not gonna release or order the release from the Bangko Sentral of the Philippines. The Philippines holds on to a lot of US dollars. $112 billion worth of dollars is what backs up the Philippine peso. But the Bangko Sentral in the Philippines, no sign of them releasing any of those dollars to help the Philippine peso from fighting the dollar. The dollar is just strong in the Philippines right now. So We might see 61. We might see 61. This is like, I've never seen, the all-time high. I've never seen the peso this high. When I came here in 2011, the peso was at 39 pesos a dollar. Now we're at 60.55, heading to 61. That's just like unbelievable. I don't even believe that could have happened here. Lowell, kumusta? Kumusta from Oregon? Mabuti ako kapatid. Salamat, Lowell. God bless, my brother. Good morning, Brother Dazzle. Joseph, hello, Brother Joseph. Belus, Dana. All right, Belus. Kevin Shores, Master po. Kuya Gino, all right, Master. Belus, God bless. Be safe, everybody be safe. Take care of that farm, that vanilla farm, man. Looking forward to more videos of the vanilla farm. Awesome project, Belus. Lowell, good morning, Belus. Joe, God bless. Howdy, Lowell, Belus. Brother Gino, Reno, hello. Hey, there's Daniel. Daniel in Cebu City. I no longer can say Daniel from Jacksonville, Florida. Now it's Daniel in Cebu City. Howdy to all the Panay Posse. Panay Posse is doing well, Daniel. I was texting with JP. He ordered the hats. We have our really nice. He sent me. I'll have to forward the pictures to you. Really nice. I like how the Panay Posse hats came out. JP ordered, I think 10. He ordered 10. We'll order more if the Panay Posse grows. We'll order more hats. Again, the peso, it hit all-time high. I have a lot of news articles because a lot going on right now in the Philippines. I'm sure everybody's heard about my last night's video. I released a video, energy crisis here. And now that I've been reading more about it, I've really been researching, reading all the articles. I have a better understanding of why the Philippines is so dependent on oil. Everybody pretty much, I think, knows that by now. Over 95%. We don't produce any oil hardly here in the Philippines, like the lowest in Southeast Asia. So heavily relying on the oil coming from the Middle East. We did get 100,000 tons of oil from Russia. First shipment from Russia in 5 years. With the permission of the United States. There's a 30-day waiver right now. So the Philippines can get oil from Russia if we need more. To me, the more I've researched it, it's really not, they were, at first when I was researching it, they're talking about the oil reserves here in the Philippines, how we only had 30 days oil reserves. But the more I read into it, it really, as far as the oil, it'll keep coming here to the Philippines. It's really not, there's a shortage, but a lot of it is the price of oil. Because the Philippines right now, in Southeast Asia, we have the highest price of diesel, the highest price of gasoline. Cheaper to get gasoline in Vietnam, Thailand, all the other countries. So we're gonna keep getting oil, because if we have the highest price here in the Philippines, they will ship it here, right? To me, it doesn't, if I had oil in Vietnam or Malaysia or whatever, and I can sell it for a higher price in the Philippines, guess where that oil is going? That's the way, the more I'm starting to understand the dynamics. Because what happened here in the Philippines, and this is one of the topics I was gonna discuss, there's a whole issue now here in the Philippines, a whole big discussion in the media. I don't get political or anything, but I do try to understand the dynamic. That happened a few years back here, an oil deregulation here in the Philippines. So really, the government here in the Philippines doesn't set the price of oil here in the Philippines. It's the producers, it's the Shell, Petron, Sea Oil, all these oil companies. they basically set the price of gasoline and diesel here in the Philippines. And that's why I'm kind of confused sometimes, even when I go to Calibo. I'm seeing different prices, man, from 95 pesos per liter all the way to 105 pesos. A 10 peso difference per liter on gasoline in Calibo and Numancia. They all have different prices because they all have different sources where they get their gasoline and their diesel. That's the way I'm understanding it. That's why now there's even calls for here. A lot of people are calling the president to repeal the oil deregulation law. That way. I guess before, when they had the deregulated oil here, it became a free market. Basically, you can set the price. That's why all these gasoline places here, they can set their price, and that's what's happening. So now, to me, the way I'm looking at it, they say, the president say we have enough gasoline to last now until June, and I don't expect to run out because if we have the highest price of gasoline and diesel, these oil companies, they'll make their way. They'll make sure that the gasoline gets here to the Philippines because they're gonna make more money. It's basically this oil deregulation. It's just made these oil companies richer. The people that carry the burden are the poor and the working class. That's normal, right? That's pretty much normal around the world. So the big corporation, the big companies, they always make the money. That's not just the Philippines. That's all over the world. How did you know Texas has once again changed its mind about the weather today? It's malamig. It's cold out here, man. Unfortunately, here, Alan, once the heat starts arriving, look at 6:52 and look how bright the sun is now. It's getting warmer here by the minute. It will just keep getting hotter here. March is usually hot. April is hotter, and then May is hottest. It just drought conditions within the next 2 months here I'm expecting in the Philippines. We don't get much rain during April and May here. Now June, we start getting rain in June. Alex, all right, I can't read that. I don't have the translation, so I can't read that, Alex. Sorry about that, my friend. Too bad the gas prices are not dropping as I know, as like the temperatures, right? We wish that the oil prices would drop as fast as the. So now there's a big talk. One of our senators here in the Philippines, Vicente Soto III, seeking a repeal. He's filing a Senate bill to fully repeal the oil deregulation. I guess the Oil Deregulation Republic Act 8479, the Downstream Oil Industry Deregulation 1998. So it's been around. That's why it says here, remove the government's authority to regulate fuel prices. So the government here in the Philippines cannot set the price of gasoline or oil here, to allow oil companies greater flexibility and competitiveness in supply and pricing. So now they want to repeal it, but during that era, they wanted to deregulate it. But you know how it is with politics. Like I said, I don't try to get involved with politics, but a lot of times there is a reason why it got deregulated at one time. The oil companies wanted to make more money. And you know how rich people, the oil big corporations, they can influence politics. That's anywhere in the world. So that's the way. Now I'm getting the big picture now. The only thing that the president can do here in the Philippines, there's a thing called the excise fuel tax. Where they tax these oil companies. So the government. The president, he can cut that. He can cut that oil tax from these corporations, which I think is already happening, but it doesn't happen overnight. You know how everything is in the Philippines, man. It's Filipino time. So this excise tax that the government of the Philippines taxes the oil company, I think it's going to happen in April, even maybe mid-April. So that's that should lessen the cost for the oil companies. But oil companies, like I said, mentioned before, when these prices go up in the Philippines, they don't have a tendency of going down as fast. They go shooting like a rocket to go up, but coming down, they take their sweet time on lowering the prices here. I do not expect a sudden drop in gasoline or diesel prices here in the Philippines. That's just how it works. Again, these big oil companies, they're all about the money. They're all about the shareholders, I'm sure. Just like anywhere else in the world. That's just how business works. So that now I have a better understanding of how before I didn't really understand why the different prices of gasoline per depending on the oil company, depending on Shell, Petron, they all have different prices here in the Philippines. And just to verify, just what I found this investor site. It says here, overall, this is overall Asian countries that have seen the highest increase in prices, diesel prices since the Iran conflict. Number one, Philippines. Philippines is number one. 81% on the price of diesel since the crisis started in Iran. Just to give you a comparison, the USA is listed here. USA is listed 41%. So it says here in the US, since the Iran conflict, it's risen 41%. Here in the Philippines, 81%. So almost double the increase for diesel here in the Philippines. And we're the highest. The second country is like Nigeria at 78, Malaysia at 57, Australia at 52, Vietnam at 45. You see the big gap, like I was saying, even for Vietnam, 45%, Philippines, 81%. So guess if I had a Shell company or oil company or Petron company in Vietnam, guess where that gasoline is going to go next? Guess where I'm going to make more money, right? Probably I would cut my supply in Vietnam and move it here, because you can make, it costs 40% more here in the Philippines. So it would just be smarter to send it our way. So I don't think we will get to that point where we will run out of diesel or we will run out of gasoline. And diesel is the main use here. Diesel is very popular here. The buses here, the jeepneys here, electricity even runs on diesel here. The exchange rate is high, so that is not helping the peso. The exchange, yeah, definitely. The only way really, Fortune, he's a banker here in the Philippines, is on our channel usually. I have talked offline with Fortune here before it reached 60. Fortune was telling me that chances are the Banco Central, the Federal Reserve of the Philippines, was gonna release some of the dollars that they're holding in reserve to combat the Philippine peso from devaluating against the dollar. But I read the article that President Marcos said he's not going to defend because he doesn't think it's futile at this point. He thinks because of the oil crisis. So we'll just have to see how that all plays out. And then let me see here. And the problem here, the government is trying to do all they can here. I mean, they're trying to do jeepney driver, bus, tricycle driver, subsidy. There's a thing here in the Philippines, it's called Ayuda, Ayuda. Ayuda is kind of like a grant that the government gives to people less fortunate, the poor people, releasing money to them. We have like it's the same thing in the United States where You have people on welfare. Here in the Philippines, there's a four-piece is what it's called here. They do have the same things here. So they are, the government's trying to do release money to the jeepney drivers, release money to the four-piece. The problem here a lot of times is that releasing of money takes time. Even if the president of the Philippines announces that, oh, we're going to give this grant, we're going to get assistance, all this, it takes a long time to get to like the barangay level, the town level. And then even that distribution here gets complicated because the way things are here in the Philippines, the way this money gets distributed, I'm already hearing, it's like the people in the different local governments, they're saying, we have not received any money. But people are already lining up, at the mayor's office, at the barangay. Hey, I heard we're getting money. Where's the money? Where's the ayuda? Ayuda here in the Philippines. Before all this exchange rate was 57, now it is at 60-50. Definitely, Alan, right? In less than a month, the peso went from like 57 to 60.5. That's a big jump. Hey, Brother Gino from Raymond. Praying this war ends soon. Yes, I think that's all we can hope for, right? We can all hope that the war ends soon. That way, all the problems that it presents, hopefully we're praying that the war ends soon for sure. It will definitely take a toll on the people here in the Philippines. It's affecting everything. From rice prices are going up. They're announcing pork. Like pork, pork is like the number one meat here in the Philippines, more than beef. They're already talking about 500 pesos a kilo for pork. They're already talking about over 300 pesos per kilo on chicken. So definitely. LPG, a lot of people here use liquid propane tanks to cook. That's short supply of LPG. They're saying that we might run out in 25 days. And of course, the prices are jumping. The prices are jumping. And it even made me think, even with the oil prices, right? So they have a 30-day or 45-day reserve, right? But the prices are skyrocketing because the way the oil companies are thinking is they don't want to run out of the oil or the gasoline, they're saying. It was basically they're saying that it's going to cost them more to get resupply. That's why skyrocketing prices. Because to me, what's the point of having an oil reserve if you can't maintain the price? Why have so much oil reserve and then when the prices are spiking? That doesn't make any sense to me. What's the point of having an oil reserve, right? You should be able to maintain the price. That's why you have a reserve. Like if I bought gallons and gallons of gasoline, big plastic containers, I can buy it at this price if I was holding it reserve. Why would I all of a sudden sell it at such a high price, double the price? But again, to me, it's all about the greediness of the oil companies here. They are not looking after the Filipinos, that is for sure. They're looking the bottom line. And business is business, right? They're looking at their shareholders, the bottom line. And the oil companies, I'm thinking the oil companies here, they're gonna make more money. They're gonna make more money out of this thing. Just my opinion. It's like don't hammer me, but I don't think they're gonna cut the prices and everything to help the Filipino people. They're here to make money. It's the business. Sal, remittance is going up and record level this year. We hope, Sal, we really hope that it continues remittance to go up because a lot of OFWs from the Middle East are coming home, all right? Almost every day here in the Philippines now, there's 400 OFWs landing in Manila. Almost another flight, 300 something OFWs from the Middle East. They're no longer going to be able to send money because they're back here in the Philippines. And once they repatriate Filipinos that are working in the Middle East to the Philippines. If the war ended today, the Philippines ain't gonna send them back. You just lost your job. That's why I even read an article. There's over 2 million OFWs in the Middle East. And if the flights that are arriving, there's only 400 here, 350 here. A lot of OFW Filipinos that are in danger zones, right? In Dubai, in Qatar, in Israel, they're staying, because it's like they're supporting families here in the Philippines. And a lot of it, I was even reading an article, a lot of your older Filipinas that are working as domestic helpers in the Middle East, domestic helpers in their 40s, 50s, sometimes even 60s, working still in the Middle East. They don't want to come home to the Philippines. They rather put their lives at risk with bombs and all that, because when you're that age here in the Philippines, if you're a domestic helper in the Middle East, you're making decent income there. If you're that age and you come home to the Philippines, there's no jobs here waiting for you. Even as a domestic helper here in the Philippines, you're gonna have a hard time getting the job, because that's the unfortunate things, with Filipinos. As you get older, you're just not more in demand. It's the younger people that are more in demand, because they can work harder. They don't have to worry about them getting sick. The employers don't have to worry about their domestic helper getting sick, putting them in the hospital and things like that. So a lot are choosing not to leave, even during dangerous times in the Middle East. They, because the numbers don't make sense to me. It's like 2 million in the Middle East, and we're getting the repatriation. Maybe the past week we maybe getting 5 flights of 400. That's only 2,000 out of 2 million. So I know it's not a mass exodus of people in the Middle East to come here. So that will definitely affect the remittance, even the ones that are leaving. And then, I'm looking at places like Dubai. The tourism in Dubai is practically dead. It's like at one time they were like number one tourist destination with the resorts, the hotels. Now Dubai is like empty, and that's a big piece. A lot of Filipinos work in Dubai. Rather have high gas prices than zombies running around. Yeah, true, right? To me, it's like I just limit the amount of gas that I would need. We don't drive our car hardly now. We rely on Bumblebee, our tricycle, and we just stay here. We just won't travel. It's like we got a beach that's 10 minutes away, Navitas Beach. We got a plaza. We got a park. Yesterday, I took Dazzle and Leanna. We went to Calibo because we wanted to celebrate Leanna's good grades. She's in the honor roll. So we ate tacos. I had tacos. Dazzle and Leanna had like the Filipino plate with a garlic fried rice, egg. They had matcha smoothie. Leanna, Dazzle got cookies and cream shake. For us, that's a treat already for us. That's like something we do extravagant. So we did that. So there's things for us to do here. It's just that for me, like I said on the video, for me, now is just not the time to vacation, spend money and all that. I'm going to be really frugal. I'm going to really be watching our money, make sure the next few months, see what happens the next few months. And I think a lot of people are thinking the same thing, because I already see the drop of visitors in Boracay Island. The prices of airline tickets in the Philippines, domestic travel, have doubled or tripled. So that's going to discourage a lot of travelers here in the Philippines. Sal, by the way, good afternoon from Inland Empire. All right, good afternoon from Inland Empire. I guess you and Dazzle will be using your dirty outdoor kitchen. Yeah, we have a clay. It's a clay pot that you buy here, Raymond. they're inexpensive. You buy like 70 pesos, solid cement, clay cement. It's got like, you can cook here with charcoal, you can cook with wood here. But we have that one electric burner right there. If the electricity goes out, we have a butane, like a camping butane, one single burner, and then the wood. If we have to go there, it's not a problem. Like I've mentioned before, for the people here in the province, we're less affected here in the province. The people that's going to be hurting are the ones in the big cities like Metro Manila, Cebu City. The people going to work, they're already having transportation issues the past 2 days. Transportation strike in the Philippines. They can't find public transportation to go to work. They can't find, 2 days, the whole nation here. And I'm going to talk about that next, about the transportation strike, the reason why they're striking and all that. So it's not a problem for us. All our stuff here, our grocery, like the public market, fish, seafood, vegetable, they're all locally sourced here. We don't rely on people. That's one thing nice about living in Aklan province. When you live in a small town of Numancia, everything is locally sourced here. We can live for months without buying anything outside. It's like all our lettuce, cabbage, carrots, potatoes, everything is here. Everything's it doesn't come from somewhere else. Where if you live in Manila, your grocery bill is going to go high because they don't have farms. Metro Manila is a concrete jungle. They don't have rice fields inside Metro Manila. They don't have farms inside of Metro Manila. So something to consider when you're trying to pick a place here in the Philippines to retire. That's something to consider. Like, if you got a lot of money, you don't have no problem, right? The people in BGC, if they can afford high grocery bill, another 25%, 30% uptick on their grocery bill, not gonna hurt them, But for people that are looking for budget retirement, I always tell them the province is the way to go. You need to find provinces where you can still access good medical care. Like me, it's like I got Calibo, I got Asia Pacific Medical Center, a brand new hospital, 2 years old. All the specialties are there. As long as you got access to a good hospital, and you live in a province, I think that's the sweet spot. That's why a lot of people are moving here. And I know the people that's moved here, Ruben, Edgar, JP, all the people that have moved here, they're happy they moved here. They made a good choice. You got to do your research. When you're looking for a place. High prices to deter people from hoarding. Unfortunately, the hoarding, that's already happened. I've already seen people hoard gasoline, because here in the province, it's not, in Manila, you would have a harder time, but here in the province, not a lot of police or not a lot of regulating. In the province, they sell gasoline here on Coke bottles. Those 1 liter Coke bottles, plastic bottles, you can buy gasoline at the sari-sari store. They're on display even. It's not like they're hiding it. It's on display. When you travel Aklan province, you will see this gasoline sold in 1 liter Coke bottles here. So I'm sure people have hoarded gasoline already, so they can sell those 1 liter at a higher price. They're already over 95 pesos to 100 pesos, over 100 pesos per liter. Before the crisis happened, you can buy those. So you buy those things for 58. So almost 100% jump in price on those gasoline Coke bottles. Good morning, sports fans. Hey, there's the Colonel. OFW for sure at the danger zone. Oh, definitely, right? It's like there's a Filipina that already, she was a caregiver. She was like, every time they had the alarm in Israel, she was going to the bomb shelters. Unfortunately, before she got to one of the bomb shelters to take her patient, she was a caregiver. They got hit and she passed away. And like I said, a lot of those caregivers, a lot of those domestic, it's not like a big exodus from Israel or big exodus from Dubai to come home because they know what's waiting for them. There's no jobs waiting for them here. They're gonna like see it through, hoping that the war ends. They're not gonna leave because if you leave your job in the Middle East now and come back, if you get repatriated, the government helps you to come back to the Philippines, you just lost your contract. And for many, it takes a lot to, you have to find an agency here in the Philippines to get you that job overseas, that contract, that 2 to 3 year contract. It's a long process. A lot of Filipinos, they get into debt. They borrow money from family. They spend money just in order to fly to the Middle East to get that job. So they're not, they're not in a hurry to jump on a plane and go back to the Philippines. It's not like, if it was an American, living in Dubai or Israel, and the bombs start blowing up. Hey, I'm on the next flight out. I'm out of here. It's like Filipinos, they have to sacrifice. They're sacrificing for their families here in the Philippines. That's why they're called heroes here. OFWs, everybody here refers to them as the Filipino heroes, the modern day heroes here in the Philippines. Aloha, Derek. Hey, aloha, my brother. Unfortunately, this will continue for a while. I think, I'm praying it ends soon, but, usually wars, it doesn't end fast, right? Usually wars kind of have a tendency of dragging on, Time to donate for the less fortunate. Definitely, definitely. And unfortunately, and this is what I'm going to talk about. There's one article first I'm going to hit, but unfortunately, you always have people taking advantage of the situation, and I'm going to mention that next. But the next article, I found this article. There's a group in Cebu. They went on strike the last 2 days. The transportation people, jeepney drivers, bus drivers, tricycles driver, they had gone on strike. They've gone on strike nationwide, but this certain group in Cebu, they made national news because I guess their protest was extensive. Got noticed in the news, and what they want, they're saying they slammed the government's emergency executive order 110. That's the announcement of the energy emergency, not real relief. And that's the thing I had mentioned earlier. That's the problem. There's money designated to get to the people, like for the jeepney drivers, the bus drivers, money that the national government of the Philippines designate for them to get. But getting it is the problem here. It takes time. And then the corruption that involves with that, you really have to be here to understand. But I'm gonna try to explain it to you. Like here in the Philippines, what I've seen, even like in the barangay level, the lowest level of governance, there's always like some type of corruption happening. Like people remember here, it's like if you voted for a barangay captain, for example. If you voted for another barangay captain and he finds out, and somehow they find out here who you're voting for, maybe watching your Facebook, watching where you're complaining or for your campaigning, they hold a grudge here. So when it's time to release that ayuda, that grant, AYUD, they might hold it against you because I remember you didn't vote for me. I'm holding your ayuda. That kind of stuff happens here all the time. It's just the money just don't get to the people that need it right away. And that's why the Cebu group, they want that oil deregulation. They want that scrap, that way these oil companies don't control the price. And then what they're saying, the government move, for like the grants, the ayuda, they're saying it's just cosmetic because again, they're not getting the money as soon as possible, because a lot of them, they need it now, and the money takes a long time to get to the people. It's a burden on the drivers, a burden on the public transportation people, and then a burden on the commuters. The people that affected the most are the commuters, because if the drivers of the jeepneys and buses, they're not making any money, they're not going to drive, right? Why would you work 10, 12 hours driving if you're not going to make any money? So they don't go out. They leave their jeepney at home. So now the commuters can't get to work, you know. So it's a rolling effect is what's happening. Their demands, these were the demands of the group in Cebu. They want a rollback of prices back to 55 pesos. Now the diesel is now at like 140 per liter for diesel. They won't see that. They won't see a rollback of prices, unfortunately. They want the excise tax that I was talking about earlier, the tax that the Philippine government taxes the oil company. They want that excise tax removed. And they also want to remove the VAT. The VAT here in the Philippines is a 12% tax on everything. Like so for foreigners here in the Philippines that think they're not getting taxed here in the Philippines, you're paying tax here in the Philippines. Anytime you eat at McDonald's, Jollibee, anytime you get gasoline, anytime you buy a motorbike, you buy a car, there's a VAT. 12%. So you're getting taxed like everybody else. So this group, they want that. They want the excise tax removed right now. They want the VAT removed. But again, you know, nothing happens here fast. You know, it's, you know, they're going to argue it. You know, politicians and all that will argue it. It takes time. It takes time. They want to nationalize the oil industries. It's funny how it's come full circle, because there was a time here in the Philippines where the government controlled everything. Probably the people that, you know, during the 1970s, till the 1980s, 60s, 70s, 80s, the government controlled the prices on gasoline, the prices on electricity. You know, a lot of times electricity was owned by the government, right? So all this deregulation was put in place. That way the government can control it. So public companies, private companies control it. Now it's kind of going full circle. Now the people are demanding, we want the government to regulate these companies, because these oil companies, all these electric companies, all these people are greedy, you know, are greedy. To me, it's just fascinating to me how it's come full circle like that. How you know, for the longest time, they want to deregulate everything. Now they want to regulate everything here. So I think I talked about most of that, what this group in Cebu. Yeah, the bottom line, their proposal from this group in Cebu, they want to roll back the prices of gasoline and diesel. They want to remove the VAT and the excise tax. They want a national minimum wage of 1,200 pesos. You know, that's almost double the current, 1,200 pesos. That's about $20. They want a $20 a day, you know, a minimum wage. Right now, the minimum wage here in the Philippines, I would say probably is about $10 a day, not an hour, $10 a day. So they want to, that's one of the more money, more, you know, the minimum wage is higher in the cities, of course, lower in the province. And then they want to nationalize the oil industries. So, but you know, everything takes time, you know, and you know, this will be debated, I'm sure, in Congress here in the Philippines. It will take time. It's not going to happen overnight, for sure. A gauge to society how we care for the young, old, disabled, and less fortunate. And the thing is, Bon, here in the Philippines, the people, the poor, the middle class, they take care of that. It's usually the top 1%, or the top 1% are the ones that are not sharing the wealth, you know. I saw a post on Facebook, and they were saying that saying the same thing about how they were criticizing how Filipinas, this one guy was saying, you're not all that, kind of like, I guess he had a bad relationship, I'm sure, or something like with a Filipina. But the thing is, it's like the people, like here in the province, here in our Klum province, I see it with my neighbors. I see it, they're already like establishing pantries for people, donation to the pantry where people can come and get free. People help each other here in the province. There's a sense of community here, especially with your own family. With your own family, you take care of your own family. But like anywhere else, Vaughn, is the rich, the top 1% or whatever. They look for opportunities to make more money. And like I said, with the oil companies, they had oil reserves. A lot of these Petron, Shell, they had oil reserves, right? So why the sudden skyrocketing price? Why couldn't they cut the Filipinos a break? Because it's for their shareholders. They're watching out. They want to make the most money to get their shares up. Raymond, my friends in Negros cook with wood inside their province house. Now, I wouldn't want to cook inside. I don't mind cooking outside, but I'm not going to cook with wood inside. I don't want to burn my house down. And the smoke, I don't want that smoke. It's going to make everything, our couch, everything smell like smoke here. We'll cook it outside. That's why, someday when I build another house, maybe in our land, in Katiklan that we bought, we're going to have an outdoor kitchen, so we can cook more with wood. Wood is easy here. Wood is cheap here. You can get like a big bundle of wood here for like 40 pesos, 75 US cents. You can get a bunch of wood here. Really cheap. Hey, Colonel, thank you. Tap the thumbs up, boys. Thank you, Colonel. Thoughts on food prices in Iloilo? About high on increase to expect. Thanks. In Iloilo, I'm thinking at least 20 to 25% increase in food prices, Lowell. Because a lot, seafood, they're close enough to the ocean, maybe, that might help them. But a lot of products that have to be shipped into Iloilo City. Iloilo City is a big city, there's a lot of people living, in Iloilo. Colonel might be able to help us more because he's in Iloilo, so he'll notice this. I'm sure Colonel will notice if the prices will get affected. Good morning, Fortune. Colonel, God bless. Lucita, my good friend in Maine. Good morning from all right, there's Daniel in Cebu City. Oh, Daniel, all right. Save that Panay Posse hat for me, Daniel. All right. Oh, we'll get more hats made, I'm sure, if needed. The Philippines is calling and waiting for you, Daniel says to Vaughn. If you have a job in the Philippines, do you pay income tax on your wages? Yes, you pay. And that was the other thing. I think, who's that senator? Amy Marcos is another senator here in the Philippines, sister of the president. And one thing she was proposing is they should eliminate, for now because of the crisis, because if you're a government worker here in the Philippines or you work for big companies, they take money out of your paycheck for PhilHealth, your Social Security, SSS is what they call it here. They just take a lot of money out of your paycheck here. And also, yes, there is an income tax here. You have to, there's a Bureau of Internal Revenue, BIR is what it's called. So you have to file taxes here. Not for us expats. Expats here, the only time I would have to pay taxes here would be for income that I made here in the Philippines. My pension is in the US, so it's not taxable by any income that you have come from another country. If you have a business here in the Philippines, any income that you make in the Philippines, the BIR will tax you, but not any income you have from outside the Philippines. Yo, Tim, Gino, YOLO, you only live once, YOLO. All right, Tim. Viva Las Vegas! How is Cebu? Daniel, nice place? Good AM, Kevin, Joe, Lowell, Beluz, and Daniel. Captain Ron, there are some great things about Cebu, but the traffic is insane. And I have mentioned that before many times, that's the only reason why I never recommend Metro Manila. I never recommend Cebu City. Now outside Cebu City, like my friend lives in Boal, Cebu by the beach, no problem. But Cebu City, Metro Manila, not a good place to retire. I don't get it why you would want to retire in those areas, just because the traffic is insane, super crowded, too many people. The air quality is not the best, because anytime you're like in a concrete jungle, better in Cebu City because it's coastal, you at least have that breeze from the ocean. But the air quality is not good. It's like crime is going to be higher. You're in a big city. That's like being in New York City. There's always going to be crime. So I never recommend those two places to retire here in the Philippines. Good AM, Captain Ron, Colonel Von Lucita from Fortune, my brother in Bacoor, in Cavite. Any rivers to float or waterfalls to see? Captain Ron, not in Cebu City. There's a beach area, but Mactan Island. But even the waters there, it's okay. It's not the cleanest of waters. Because the thing that you got to remember, Captain Ron, here in the Philippines, the big cities like Metro Manila, Cebu City, the sewer goes into the rivers and goes into the ocean. So I'll leave it at that, right? That should. But from Cebu City, you can go 2 hours away, 3 hours away, and see waterfalls. So, but not in Cebu City itself. Cebu City is basically a concrete jungle. It's nothing but tall buildings. There's tourist attractions. You got the Magellan Cross. You got some tourist attractions, but the traffic, it's insane. I would never drive in Cebu City. I've driven all over the Visayas region, but I would never drive in Cebu City. 1. The train law, RA, effective 2018, significantly overhauled Philippine income tax by exempting those earning 250,000 or less annually. Oh, nice. Good to know. Captain Ron, morning Fortune. When is your vacation? Oh, it's coming up in Bohol. I know. Oh, he's got 2. During Holy Week, he's going to Batangas. He's going to Batangas by the beach with his family. I was thinking of his vacation in Bohol coming up in June. 4. Bond. Colonel Belus, still working until Tuesday, then off until the off, so you'll have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 5 days on the beach. And that's what most people here in the Philippines do during Holy Week. It's a trip to the beach. Everybody heads to the beach during Holy Week here. Actually, Friday here in the Philippines, I had an article about it. I got so many articles here. But Friday here, next week, basically is Holy Week here in the Philippines. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you'll still see some people running around. But like I said, most people head to the beach. But like, especially on Good Friday, the streets here in the Philippines will be empty. Calibo, Numancia, it's going to be empty here because that's Good Friday, here in the Philippines, a lot of people here are Catholic. That's the death of Jesus Christ on Good Friday. So people stay at home. Filipinos are very superstitious here in the Philippines. So during Good Friday, a lot of people just stay home. They don't want to go out. It's like they're afraid. There's a superstition here that it's not good to go out on Good Friday. You might get in an accident. Things like that. A lot of superstition here in the Philippines. But for Holy Week, pretty much any of towns, any cities will be very quiet in the Philippines. Brian, happy Saturday morning to you and the family. Hey, Brian, we love the ice cream. They got two flavors, I told you. They got Rocky Road and Coffee Crumble. I think the Rocky Road is gone. Maybe a little bit of the Coffee Crumble. Leanna, man, she eats a lot of ice cream. Thank you again for that, Brian. Juan, Fortune. Captain Ron, the only travel seen is SM Mall and SNR, LOL. And that's what happens, Daniel. That's what happens to people living in Metro Manila and Cebu City. The only place people go on those places is the mall. That's why there's so many malls in Metro Manila. You got the Mall of Asia. You got you got all the SM North. So many different SM Robinsons. Same thing in Cebu City. It's like here in the province we don't have SM. We don't have SM. We don't have SNR. So for us, our thing to do for fun is the beach, the plaza, the park. We don't have a lot of what the cities have. For me it works out because malls. You just end up spending money at the mall. Hello, Open Chess Challenge. All right. I play chess. I haven't played with anybody in a long time, but I know how to play chess. Daniel, seen the smog all around Cebu the last couple of days. I know, right? So that's the thing. If you got asthma, if you got anything lung condition, the big cities here, they're not a good place for you. Live here out in the province, man. We got fresh air in the province. So all sewage get deposited into the ocean. Pretty much, Raymond. I have not seen a sewage treatment plant here in the Philippines. Never seen one. Fortune, just booked the resort for Bohol in June. 6 packs, 2 room, 4 days, 3 nights, 20K for 3 nights. That's pretty good, man. Check out in Agoda, Abraham Bohol. All right. Brian, Fortune, I'm just over a month away from moving there in Iloilo and looking forward to trips like that. Oh yeah, you're gonna have trips man, even in Iloilo City, man. The minute you land in Iloilo City, Brian, you got Guimaras Island. A 15-minute ferry ride from Iloilo City. Guimaras Island, you'll enjoy that. And then from Iloilo City, you can go to Carles in Iloilo and go to Gigantes Island. So you're gonna enjoy it. If you're looking for resorts, you're looking for island hopping, Iloilo has them. Gino, just wondering, do they flew rice's life at weddings? Yeah, I still see that. I still see that sometimes where they throw rice at the newlyweds. They'll fly doves. I've seen doves. I've seen them throw rice. That still happens. One thing about Filipinos, they try to maintain a lot of tradition. Very traditional. A lot of and they do it because they say it's for good luck. And then they're superstitious. Filipinos, are very superstitious about a lot of stuff. It's like, all right. Let me see. And I have topics. I have all kinds of topics to talk about here. Let me see. Let me hit this. Oh, next thing I'm gonna cover. Because of because of the oil crisis. Now, they announced a community alert. There is a rise in fuel theft, gas station robberies in the Philippines. Again, it's like, it's going to happen. If the people struggle, economy struggle, now gasoline, diesel, it's like liquid gold now. It's like liquid gold now. It's like the value has doubled. The value of diesel and gasoline has doubled here. Unfortunately, it has also increased the crimes here related to diesel and gasoline. It says here, noticeable surge in gasoline, diesel related crimes across the Philippines over the past 3 weeks as the fuel prices have spiked up. Crime regarding those regarding oil and diesel has also increased. Gas station robberies, March 18th in Cotabato City, armed suspects on motorcycles robbed a station in Barangay Rosary Heights, taking cash and mobile phones. In Bohol, March 14th in Bohol, a police sergeant was arrested for allegedly robbing a gas station linked to 2 other incidents. A police sergeant arrested for robbing a gas station in Bohol. Fuel siphoning, theft from vehicles. People are actually stealing gasoline from your vehicle. Tacloban City, March 24, around 70 liters of diesel stolen from a parked truck along Rizal Avenue. In Bulacan, March 21, reports of fuel being siphoned from tricycles shortly after refueling. Illegal fuel sales, illegal hot fuel is what they call it here. In Albay, 4 individuals arrested, over 1,100 liters seized. So basically, right before or during, people are hoarding gasoline and then they're selling it illegally. You're not supposed to sell, but again, in the province, it's a wild west here. You still see the bottle. I guess if it's a liter bottle, I guess that's not too bad. But if you're selling over 1,000 liters of gasoline, they call that illegal fuel, say hot fuel. And then the danger, right? The danger of like selling, that's gasoline, highly flammable. You got people selling it in like plastic containers, siphoning it. I'm like, man, that can't be safe. That can't be safe. In Masbate, March 24, store owner caught selling gasoline illegally at inflated prices. So they arrested someone in Masbate, a gasoline station, overpricing. Again, that it just happens. It's like there's people taking advantage of the situation, unfortunately. So the government response, increased patrols by the Philippine National Police at gas stations nationwide. Here I haven't seen more police activity around, but maybe you would expect more. It probably makes sense to see more police. It says here, criminal charges filed in multiple regions. Because of the spike. So safety reminder for communities, avoid leaving vehicles unattended for long periods of time, especially overnight. Park in well-lit areas, report suspicious activity. When buying fuel, be cautious if you're buying fuel outside of the gasoline station. To me, that's common sense. You might get arrested. If you're buying outside a gas station. Businesses consider installing CCTV and fuel tank locks is what they're saying here. The recommendations. So I can already see, with a crisis like this, the next thing to go up, unfortunately, would be crime. Crime here, different types of crime you would expect because people will be struggling. These prices are insane. For not just for gasoline and oil, but for the commodities. For people, what people spend their money on here, like pork. 500 kilos, a kilo for pork, that's a lot. 300 a kilo for chicken. Rice going up to 70 pesos for rice. Man, that's just crazy here. It's like that's why gonna be hard times for many people for sure. Less than 2 weeks in country. First week had Filipino flu, also dealing with very bad zero internet, and not been able to travel. Monday, I start on my SRRV. Yeah, unfortunately, Daniel, I wish, like I said, Daniel, I wish you would have flown here to Calibo instead of going to Cebu City. But I let people decide on their own. Like I said before, my recommendation would have been to fly here because we're here. You get the Panay Posse here. I'm here. You would have avoided a lot of things you're dealing with the phone, with the internet. You would have not had to deal with that. Because you got it's hard. That's why I always tell people when you come to the Philippines, find a sponsor here. Go onto the Facebook groups. If the area where you're going, find a sponsor. If meet people online. If you're going to Bohol, if you're going to Iloilo, meet a local there, meet an expat there. That way, somebody can sponsor you, somebody can guide you. Because it is hard when you're going to a place where you land at a place and you don't know anybody. There's gonna be so much that you don't know. So much that you'll learn. You'll trial by error. You'll learn, but you can avoid a lot of things, like look at JP. Look at JP. He landed in Caticlan. I picked him up at the airport. He's here. No, hardly any issues here. He's like smooth sailing from the time he got here. It's all smiles. He's having fun. He's on his motorbike. People telling him, oh, you can't ride a motorbike when you get there. Your motorbike's it's illegal. You have to wait months before you buy a new motorbike. Man, JP was like on a motorbike within like 3 weeks of landing. Man, he's got a brand new bike. He's got his Philippine driver's license. Come on, because he's got people here to help him. I'm here to guide him. No issues with tourist visa. It's like it is difficult when you land here in the Philippines and you don't know anybody and you're trying to feel your way. It's just difficult. Make use of those. Make use of those vloggers on YouTube. There's so many vloggers. I'm not the only vlogger, right? There all these vloggers that you're supporting on YouTube. Ask them for help, man. If you're going to Dumaguete, ask them. Ask the Dumaguete vlogger you're following. Hey, help me out here. I'm going to Dumaguete. That's when you'll see if they're genuine. You'll see if they're willing to help a brother out. It's like. Hope things get better, Daniel. Hang in there, buddy. You would have avoided all that, Daniel. You would have avoided all the things you're dealing with if you landed here in Calibo. Just saying, brother. I know that SRRB was important to you and all that, but I think, I think it would have been better. It would have, because you would have gotten the tourist visa for a few months and then file for your SRRB. It's not but it is what it is. You're there now. So make the best of the situation. Make the best of the situation. Hope you're getting fresh seafood there. Vaughn, stay strong, Daniel. Phil, remember when applying for your SRV, you still have to keep your travel visa up to date. Yes, Phil. That's the thing. It's like Daniel is coming here soon to visit me in our client, and I'll help him with his tourist visa. He already asked me, Gino, do you mind helping me when I get there? I said, no problem. I could, that's what I was saying. The SRV, he could have waited. He could have lived here for 6 months to a year on a tourist visa, spend $500, $600 for the whole year. And not rush into, now, you don't, you're going to have to wait, SRV is going to take time. It's not going to be like in 1 week you're done with your SRV. That process takes a little bit. Many places to visit in IC, UNESCO, gastronomic city. Yeah, Iloilo City, yep, IC. If you have kids, Best Schools Elementary University has the Western stuff, but not Manila or Cebu size. Iloilo City has numbered jeepney routes. So if you go to this place, ride jeep, yeah, easy to follow. Is very organized. That's one thing that I like about Iloilo City. Very well run city. Probably the best like good governance by a city in the Philippines. Very well, everything that Iloilo City does, they're very, government is very transparent. You feel that the government is helping the people in Iloilo City. You can't say that for some cities, unfortunately. Has numbered jeepney routes. Fortune. Like Colonel, if you have bike, easy to go around to see mountains, eat good food, visit Prince and Rojas, Calibo, Boracay. You can hop on the 15 to Guimaras, March, now Mango Sea. Oh man, I can't wait. I gotta go to Iloilo City next month for my MRI. So I'm gonna stock up on that Guimaras mango on the way back. I'm gonna bring back a bushel. I'm gonna bring back a bushel of that Guimaras mango. Any tips for getting into red? I don't know what that is. Unfortunately, I don't know what that is, brother. Pinay. All right, let me see. Power. Let me see. What is the? I got all these articles. Energy. Yeah, electricity for sure here in the Philippines. Prices on electricity almost guaranteed, almost expected. When the oil prices here go up in the Philippines, electricity follows. Because a lot of your electricity here still runs on diesel and gasoline and coal. But I'm already expecting at least a 20% increase in my electricity bill for next bill that I get. Let's see, station. Oh, I already reported this earlier. 2 days ago, I reported 415 gas stations have closed nationwide. Here in Panay Island, there's already, I think, 10 gas stations have closed already. Hopefully temporary closure. But like like I said, for many of us here in Aklan province, a lot, especially for retired expat, it's like the effect is not going to be, you're not going to be able to travel as much. It's going to cost you more if you travel. Like for me, I just made a decision. This summer, April and May, we just won't travel as much. We'll just stay home since gasoline prices are so expensive. All right, right there. I like your question there. F Sharp. Hi, how have you handled healthcare? How did you decide to settle there? Okay, great question. Finally, a good question. I like to answer that about how do I handle healthcare. I'm United States Air Force retired. I served 20 years active duty in the United States Air Force. So I have medical insurance from TRICARE. TRICARE is the military medical insurance for retired military here in the Philippines. If you come here to the Philippines and you're retired military, you can use TRICARE. You have to sign up for it. It's called TRICARE Select Overseas. Basically, with my insurance, TRICARE covers 75% of my medical care here. I still pay 25% out of pocket. My fee a year for me and my wife, we're both covered on the family plan. Our insurance plan with TRICARE is like $400 a year. So not very much, about $30 a month for medical insurance. We have good medical care here in Calibo nearby. I'm about 15 minutes away from Asia Pacific Medical Center. In Iloilo City, great hospitals in Iloilo City. And how did you decide to settle there? I ended up here in Aklan province. I'm not from here because of Boracay Island. My first 18 months was in Boracay Island. I really enjoyed Boracay. I was younger back then. I was 45. Just had a blast in Boracay. Then I decided to move to the mainland. Boracay is like 15 minutes by ferry to the mainland of Aklan. So now I live in the mainland because when I lived in Boracay, I just had my bicycle. I had my mountain bike for 18 months. I didn't have a motorbike. I didn't have a car. You can't have a car in Boracay Island anyway. Maybe a motorbike if you get permission, a permit. But I just liked it when I moved to the mainland here because here I'm able to drive a car. You know, I'm able to travel to other, I can island hop in our car, riding the ferry. So it's just more access to things, you know. I have access to Iloilo City. I can watch a movie. I can watch a movie. I can go to SM Mall. But it's a great place. I've always told people, Aklan Province here in the Philippines, Panay Island, the whole Panay Island, the 4 provinces, Antique, Aklan Province, Iloilo, Capiz. I always tell people, man, Panay, this is a hidden gem in the Philippines here. You can't go wrong if you retire. If you're looking for a place to retire on a budget, this place is awesome. This place is perfect. If you got a lot of money, you know, it's like, you know, I always tell people this, you know, it's like, if you have a lot of money, if you can afford retirement in the United States, that is still the better place. No reason for you to retire in a developing country. If you can afford retirement in the U.S., that's the best place for you to retire. But for most, you know, very few people can afford retirement now in the United States. That's why they look to other countries, and Philippines being one of the, to me, ideal places to retire because people speak English here, and you're gonna meet the best people here, the kindest people, humble people, not materialistic people, especially in the provinces. You know, people say, "Oh, it's the government there in the Philippines so corrupt." You know, but you know, to me, you can't equate government corruption with the people. The people here, no matter the government here in the Philippines, it's been corrupt since the 60s, 70s, 80s. It's going to be corrupt forever. You know, it's not going to change. It's, you know, the government's just corrupt in the Philippines, but it doesn't take away from the people. The Filipinos are like the amazing people. You're going to meet the best people here. If you're single, the Filipina is like probably like in the top, you know, I would say top in the world as far as meeting a Filipina, right? Because Filipinas are still traditional. They respect their husband. They want to raise a family. A lot of Filipinas are happy to stay home and take care of the family. You know, if you're looking for independent, if you're looking for independent women, yeah, you're better off in America. But if you're looking for like a traditional Filipina that's going to take good care of you, that in your 4th quarter of your life, a lot of times if you're like in your 50s, if you're in the 60s, 70s, it's darn near impossible to meet anybody in America. You know, and that's what I'm hearing from people. Here in the Philippines, if you come here in your 50s, 60s, and 70s, you will meet a Filipina here that will take care of you. You're not going to end up in a nursing home. You know, they're going to make sure they take care of you because you're providing for them. It's a win-win. You're providing for the Filipina's taking care of you. So to me, that's a win-win. You know, it's like, what's the exchange rate? All-time high, Vaughn. It closed yesterday, 60.55, the highest ever in the Philippines, dollar to exchange rate. You can only apply for in Cebu and Manila. Flying back and forth to Cebu, all the SRB was not appealing to me. I understand, Daniel. Are you using JRC to help you SRB? Vaughn, Daniel, I am hoping the war and Holy Week don't mess up your efforts. Thanks. It looks different from non-military. I'm looking at Iloilo myself. I'll owe you a San Miguel. All right. I don't drink, so maybe you owe me a coffee. I'll drink coffee now. Or tea or coffee. I don't drink. I no longer drink alcohol. So for non-military, I can talk with you offline. There are options here. I mean, expats, they get PhilHealth here. You can, for 17,000 pesos a year, you can get PhilHealth. The medical care here is not as expensive as in the US, unless you're gonna need like a quadruple bypass or something like that, you know. But for day-to-day, like seeing a specialist, getting prescription medicine, if you don't have a lot of medical issues, you can just pay it out of pocket. You know, it's like that's what a lot of people here do. A lot of people here, when they get to like Medicare age, you know, like 65, they turn down their Medicare because you can't use Medicare here in the Philippines, $225 a month. They just pocket it and build like a emergency fund with that money here in the Philippines. There's many ways to handle your medical, how to handle medical here. Contact me on all our videos. Look at the description, my email, my WhatsApp, my messenger, all there. Contact me offline because I've helped many people here. I'm always willing to help. To me, it's become my purpose. You know, it's like I love helping my brothers, my sisters. I love helping people. I want people to come to the Philippines and find a good life here. Yeah. It helps when you have somebody guiding you to the process. Like I said, make use of all the other bloggers, man. You know, it's like there's like hundreds of expat bloggers now here in the Philippines. Use them, man. Ask them, hey, I'm coming to your area. Help me out, right? You know, it's like that's so easy to do, man. Now, with all these gas issues, I am glad that I am doing one-stop ordeal. One-stop ordeal. Do you have kids? F sharp. I hear you, Daniel. Vaughn, I do not. Oh, man, no kids? Man, you got, if you're single, you got no kids, man, you're a catch. You're a catch to Filipinas here, man. Peanut butter travels here. Daniel, all is good. Great here. Things happen. It's just part of life and the adventure. Vaughn, that's cool. Are you in the Philippines already? Coffee it is. All right, coffee it is. Not currently, but eventually. Gino, is Blue Cross taken? You took care? Yes. There's actually a person there. I have his contact information on my laptop. One time anyway. Let me see if I still have it. I tried to keep all these contacts. I must have deleted him, but there's a person at Medical City Iloilo, specifically for Blue Cross Blue Shield, if that's your insurance. Derek or Michael. That's a good. He's got a Facebook page. He takes care of Pacific Cross. Very helpful to expats here in the Philippines, taking care of insurance, medical insurance. Good day, hey, Southern Cal Benny. Hello. Do you know if there are supplemental insurance that covers what PhilHealth doesn't cover? Supplemental insurance. You know, PhilHealth, all PhilHealth is, Southern Cal Benny, is a discount. It doesn't cover 100%. If you're talking about supplemental health, Pacific Cross is a good one for expats. A lot of expats, like Michael, that person, like Derek, I think you misspelled. I don't think it's Allstott. I think it's Olmsted or something like that. But if you want to contact me, but you can go, you can find him on Facebook or just type Pacific Cross or health insurance in the Philippines. You will find him. He's a good contact if you're looking for additional insurance here in the Philippines. Oh wow, I'm a catch. You're a catch, Colonel, man. You're single, no kids. Come on, man. You're a catch here in the Philippines, man. Filipinos can be lined up for you, Colonel. Onstead, yeah, there you go. Thank you there, William. I know it wasn't an Allstott, maybe a typo, maybe or autocorrect, but Onstead. It's Michael Onstead on Facebook. The Colonel is laughing. Vaughn. Indeed, Colonel. All right. Let me just see here. I'm trying to hit all the articles that I've just found here. Yeah, expecting electricity. Or I'm gonna delete that. Oh, we're gonna have a farmers market, farmers market here in Calibo, April the 2nd, April the 3rd. That's like Monday, Thursday, and Good Friday. But we're gonna have a fresh produce, freshly made delicacies. All right, I'm looking forward. I'm gonna attend this farmers market, and Barangay Tigayon, Calibo, Aklan. That's the thing here in the province. Like I said, a lot of our products here, a lot of our vegetables, fruits are locally sourced. I'm expecting more farmers market, more things like that. You get guys like future farmers of a clan. Levi in Katiklan. He's a farmer. He's got lettuce. A lot of people are going to start selling their products, going out to farmers market during crisis like this, because people aren't going to travel like me. I want activities nearby. I'm going to attend farmers markets in Calibo and here in Numancia. The Colonel is a catch. Indeed, Colonel. Oh no! I thought I lost you guys. I'm hooked up to my Blue Yeti, so it's not the electricity. So my internet, something's happening with my internet. The Colonel is laughing. He is together with his cat. Oh, the cat on the fishing. When we went fishing, that cat. That's funny. It's funny that you remember the cat. I did see this. There's another a travel advisory here in the Philippines, and this is always unfortunately it's always the Mindanao area. Again, it says here it's a travel advisory from the U.S. Embassy. We advise against non-essential travel to the eastern part of the island of Mindanao, the provinces of Agusan del Norte, Agusan del Sur, Davao del Norte, Davao del Sur, Bukidnon, Misamis Oriental, Composuela Valley, Davao Oriental, Surigao del Sur. There is advice against non-essential travel on those areas. And then there's a red area, it says here, we advise against all travel. This is coming from the American Embassy. To western part of Mindanao, provinces of North Cotabato, South Cotabato, Sultan Kudarat, Maguindanao, Sarangani, Lanao del Norte, Lanao del Sur, Zamboanga Peninsula, and entire Sulu Archipelago. I saw that on my Facebook page that it came from the warning from the U.S. Embassy. So I figure I shall. But most people, I think, know the places to stay away, places to stay away in the Philippines. No cat. Colonel says no cat. If ever I move there, you need to hook me up with your dentist. Hey, I have a great dentist. Asia Pacific Medical Center here. High-tech, man. High-tech dentist, man. It was like, I've never had one of those x-rays before where a panoramic. In the U.S., I left the U.S. in 2011, so they still had those things where they gotta line you up. That noisy thing. They put like a lead vest on you and everything. It's like one tooth at a time. Man, Asia Pacific Medical Center, all I had to do was I had to stand. I was in the x-ray department, and they had this thing where I had to bite on something. I had to bite on a plastic, and it just scanned my whole head. So my whole teeth were like, man, I've never had that before, man. I've never had a whole panoramic view of my tooth. Here in the dentist here, most of us here don't even carry dental insurance. The dentists here are so inexpensive. like an example, if you need a crown, like a porcelain crown here in the Philippines, like this, again, this is from a high tech. My dentist even has got that full oxygen mask thing. It's like she's got the rest. I mean, she's fully encapsulated, kind of like during COVID, gloves, high tech chair, and everything. A crown, one crown. If you're needing a crown, with a porcelain crown with the bite marks, they'll make you your crown. It costs like 15,000 pesos, about $250 per tooth. I mean, I know, man, you can't get that in the US. Man, dental in the United States are like in the thousands, man. Definitely, man, I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up with my dentist, man. Really nice dentist, dude. Solar may be in order. I've thought about solar, Vaughn, but I have my Blue Yeti, and for me, as long as I can run fans, rechargeable fans, and my internet is kind of my lifeline to the news, see what's going on, watch Netflix, sports channels, watch my Dodgers. As long as I get that, the heat really, you're gonna suffer here if you're not used to the heat. March, April, and May, but come June time to December, it's cool enough here to where a lot of times we don't even use the air condition here. But I'm Filipino. I know Americans. I know they love their AC and they love their cool air. But I'm adapted here, man. It's like a electric fan is fine with me. We also the love between you and the cat, Colonel. The cat, yeah, at Laola's Fish Farm. We're gonna have another get together, April 9th. Daniel's supposed to come to Aklan, so we're gonna have a get together for Daniel here in Aklan at the Laola's Fish Farm. So, if you notice, not one vlogger video ever talked about what JRC fees are. Try using JRC services. They will not tell me it costs without listening to some 20 sales pitch. So I don't know much about them, Daniel, about JRC. I know they're a company here in the Philippines. See, most of the people I help, Daniel, they're not even worried about the SRRV visa. They just come here on a tourist visa forever. I've known people here in the Philippines on a tourist visa for like 5-10 years. They just keep paying the fee. Every 2 months, just keep paying the fee because it's really just paying the fee and you get to stay here. So to them, it's like you are military. I understand, so you get a big discount on the deposit. But a lot of foreigners that are not military, prior military, a lot of them, they don't want to make that big deposit. I think it's like $20,000 now. That's a lot of money, man. You can build a house here in the Philippines for $20,000, man. So they don't want to mess with that. They just rather pay the tourist fee, It's amazing you speak English fluently. I lived in the United States for 30 years. I split my life. I'll be 60 this year. In a couple of months, I'll turn 60. Half my life was in the U.S., half my life here in the Philippines. So that's why I can speak English fluently. And most of our viewers of our channel are in U.S., Canada, are Americans, foreigner, Australia, New Zealand. I actually have very few Filipinos that watch our channel because, I kind of like my niche, the people that I help are mostly like expats, Most of my friends are expats. I do have some Filipino friends, but it's harder for me to relate to Filipinos, like even though I'm Filipino, because a lot of the Filipinos that I meet here in Aklan province, they're still working. I'm retired. I have not worked for 15 years. So it's hard for me to bond with them because like they're still working. Now with the expats, I bond with the expats because we're all retired here. I don't have many expat friends here that are still working. For most of us, this is kind of like permanent vacation in the Philippines. That's why we go fishing. We go to the beach. We hang out. We get to do fun stuff. Is Starlink available in your area? Good. Go Dodgers. Yeah, well, Starlink, man. James and Karen's Adventures. Go watch their channel, James and Karen's Adventures. You will learn everything about Starlink here in the Philippines through James, because James has a residential Starlink in his house, and he's got the mobile Starlink. He does a lot of live streams, so like remote mountains out in the middle of the ocean. It's like, and he knows, he's an expert regarding Starlink. Just check out their channel, James and Karen's Adventure. Walk into his office in Cebu and talk to someone there. Talk to someone there. Vaughn, April 9 will be a great day. We hope so. I mean, we're waiting is for Daniel. I'm supposed to pick up Daniel at the airport in Caticlan on the 8th. So I figure the following day we'll have a fishing with all the expats, so he can meet all the expats here. Day of Valor, Day of Valor. All right. Yeah. Holiday here. Joseph, okay. That's cool for another great info. Said Michael, said hi. Loa, when I lived in Hawaii, I only used the AC during the summer. The rest of the year, I used nothing. I keep my house now between 72 to 76. I am cold if it hits 70. Yeah, same thing with me, man. Lowell, me and you are the same. When you see me, when temperatures hit like 70 degrees Fahrenheit, you see me wearing a sweatshirt, man. It's like, oh dang, 70 is chilly. We're the same, man. I'm acclimated to the weather here. It's like, I think that's, it saves you money if you're acclimated to the weather. If you don't mind sweating once in a while. Me, I don't mind sweating. I just make sure I have Vita Coco. I'm not sponsored by Vita Coco, but I just make sure I have Vita Coco. And I drink a lot of Vita Coco. I also buy a lot of coconut, just coconut water, just straight from coconut. Here in our province, coconut is about 25 pesos. About 40 cents, 40 US cents. You chop it, you drain all the water in it, you put in a pitcher. A lot cheaper than Vita Coco actually, but just the convenience. It's so easy to like stock up on Vita Coco and drink it. Juliana, good greeting, Brazil. All right, thumbs up. All right, Brazil. Very nice, very nice. Let me just see if I have any more articles here. All right. I still got a little bit of time, so I can try actually hit a topic here. I did prepare a little bit of topic. That way we have a topic to discuss. And my topic today is focus on the good. Focus on the good. Don't let all the media, don't let all the noise ruin your fun. Ruin. I know we're inundated now with like bad news a lot of times, but don't let that ruin your happiness and your peace. Like I don't, all this stuff. I like watching it, keeping track, reporting it to you guys, but it does, my life here in the Philippines doesn't change. No matter, I've survived the pandemic here. They had a Boracay closure at one time. Heck, I survived cancer. I've got treated for 4 months of radiation and chemo treatments. To me, I don't let all that, all that stuff ruin my fun. To me, every day is a blessing. I wake up each day grateful. All this stuff about the oil crisis, gasoline prices, all these things will pass. All things will pass. It's a temporary thing. It's not gonna last forever. That's what I'm saying. Don't let that affect or ruin your fun. Still have fun. Me, that's it. Like so yesterday we went to Calibo, ate 3 good sized tacos. It's like enjoy life. Don't let all the noise. That's why I don't get into politics. In the U.S., Democrats, Republicans. In the Philippines, it's the same thing. They got the same party arguing. Politicians are grandstanding. I don't let that bother me, man. It's like, to me, it's not going to affect my day-to-day retirement. My retirement doesn't change because of all the noise, all the media, all the stuff that their negativity that they voice out. To me, focus on the good. Focus on your family, your friends, my family, my friends. I check on my people, that's what I do. It's like, ask my friends, ask the colonel, ask James. I check on, hey brother, how are you doing, man? Hope you're okay. Little things like that, to me, I do what matters to me. I care for my family, I care for my friends. To me, nothing makes me more happy when I see them happy, so my objective in life, I've mentioned it many times, is to do good and be good. If you do that, you have no worries. You're gonna have a fruitful life. You're gonna have friends. People are gonna like you. People that complain all the time, people that are negative, man, nobody wants to hang out with those people. It's like I don't. It's like if you're negative all the time and you just you're complaining about the Philippines all the time, I'm not gonna invite you. I'm not sorry, And I've offended people before. I've actually, this one guy last year, he was offended that I did not invite him to Dazzle's party because, dude, if you're negative and you got that negative vibe, I'm not gonna ruin the friends that I have that we're having fun. I'm not gonna bring you in that, So maybe I'm, what is that? Like maybe I'm bad about doing that, but I'm not gonna infect the good people, my good circle of friends. I'm not gonna infect that with somebody that's negative. Just appreciate your life. Appreciate waking up each morning, waking up healthy. It's like that stuff that things can change in an instant. One visit to the doctor, one test that we go through can change your life. Just enjoy the day, be grateful you woke up, you got sunshine, you got sunny weather. Enjoy your family. I'm grateful for Dazzle, for Leanna and Mom. I'm grateful that day to day we're like enjoy. I mean, every day we're having fun. Every day we're watching TV together. We don't need a lot of like money to enjoy that. Let me go back here. I don't want to get too behind. Good day, Shekel fan. All right, good to see you, brother. Thank you for joining the live. I'm good until 90. After that, oh yeah, it gets hot. I mean, humidity here in the Philippines. Are you recovered now? So far, come June, I'm cancer-free 3 years. So, but like I said, I know cancer can come back at any time. That's why man, I just live my day. Each day I wake up, another day. Thank you, Lord. Another day. I'm just happy every day. You see the vibe, you see my positivity, because I know tomorrow's not given. None of us is guaranteed tomorrow. It's like something can happen today, and I might not be here tomorrow. Right? That happens all the time. We hear people, oh dang, he died, or she died. I'm like, wow, she was so young, or he's so young. Things like that happen all the time. You gotta be grateful for the time you have on this earth, man. Greetings all. Sorry, I'm just here to listen to English. Oh, no worries, Juliana. Gino is a great friend. See, Colonel's my brother, man. Colonel's like we check up on each other. This is not the only time I communicate with Colonel. There's, hey brother, how you doing? It's like stay safe. Because we care about each other. We care about our friendship. Me, my circle of friends. I'm very protective about my circle of friends. I have removed people in my life because they tried to damage my circle of friends. One thing you'll learn about me: if you become my brother, you become my friend. I'm pretty loyal to my friends. If you attack one of my friends, you won't be my enemy, but you will not be my friend either. I'm pretty loyal when it comes to like that, because I guess I get that from the military. We were brothers in the military. In the military, it doesn't matter whether you're Filipino, you're white, you're black, you're Hispanic. We were all brothers in the military. That's why I think I carried that with me. It's like I will defend my friends. I will defend my friends. Good AM, Phil, PBT, Derek, Southern Cal, Benny. Good AM, William from Fortune. Daniel, you hired JR or JRC? He is always in Mike's TPL video. An expert, yeah. See, me, I never really researched them, researched them, Fortune. Like I said, most of the guys I help, they're not interested in SRRB because it costs money. SRRB costs money. They're low budget. Most of my guys that I've helped are like low budget. That's why I subscribed you a few days ago. I see you're a good person. Oh, thank you, Joseph. And you have a beautiful, thank you, appreciate that. Thank you so much for the kind words, Joseph. Bon, that's Fall of Bataan Day, but now called Day of Valor. Day of Valor. All right, so focus on the good, focus on the good. Again, I'll go back to my topic. Do you rely on help or do you do your own cooking, cleaning? Here in the Philippines, most expats, most people, foreigners that comes here, you're gonna learn this really quick. When you meet a Filipina here, your Filipina will do everything for you. Filipinos don't like their husbands doing things. Cleaning, cooking, it's like, and now, I have Liana, I have Dazzle, my wife, and mom. They don't want me doing anything, and I'm good with that. I'm good with that. It's like I don't do very much around the house. I do cook because I like cooking, so they enjoy my cooking. I know how to cook Filipino food. I can cook American food, but they prefer Filipino food, so I cook that for them. And that's one thing about, another thing I'll add, with Filipinas. When you meet a Filipina here in the Philippines, a lot of them, they don't really care about politics. A lot of Filipinas here that I see, when they have an expat foreigner boyfriend or they marry a foreigner, a lot of the Filipinas, they'll like discourage their partner. Don't talk about politics. Because they see it. They see it how politics like triggers so many people, makes a lot of people angry. So a lot of Filipinas, they're not concerned. They're not concerned here about politics. We don't have shows here in the Philippines where, in the U.S. they got those shows where I forgot the name of that TV show where Whoopi Goldberg, all those women cackling, talking about getting about everybody. We don't get that. Filipino women, they don't do that stuff here. Filipino women, it's more traditional here. They're happy. They're happy to meet a husband here. They're happy to take care of their husband. They're happy to stay home to take care of the kids. That's how Filipinas here, and that's why a lot of foreigners, a lot of Americans are coming here to the Philippines because I know they want that. I know they want that, and it's available, especially here in the province. I have not met anyone yet that come here to Aklan province and have not met their Filipina here. You get to pick. You have a good pool of people, Filipinas, to meet here. Like and subscribe. Thank you, Fortune. Thank you so much. I have a cousin in Indiana, no longer talks to his sister. To me, that's ridiculous, Derek. To me, why would you lose people because of politics? But that's just me. Like Derek, probably our generation was the same, right? When we were in the military. I served with people in the military that I could not care if they're Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever they are. They're my brothers in the military. Unfortunately, I think this new generation's not like that anymore. They hold grudges. Their political affiliation is so important to them. To me, it's like I'm not into that. It's like I've always had my own voice. I never really belonged to a party. It's like I always looked at the situation. When it's time for me to vote, I look at the situation, I weigh the two people in front of me and say, okay, I'll vote for this guy this time, or I'll vote for this guy this time. To me, I make my own decisions. That's the way, and I respect other people's decision. Whoever they want to be in charge, hey, that's what To me, that's what America is all about. That's what, we're supposed to have the freedom to choose. Freedom to choose. Yes, my wife don't let me do anything, even I wash the dishes. She says, I miss it. See, Derek knows. It's the same. Man, I don't touch anything here in the house. I don't sweep the floor. I don't clean the bathroom. I don't wash the dishes. I cook. I cook. That's what I do here. Laundry. All the women in my life take care of that for me. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed that way. Bond. Fortune Bataan Day from the Detmar during World War II. Yeah, usually, Von, what will happen, the president of the Philippines, he will go to the shrine and put a wreath. That's always like televised here in the Philippines during that holiday. Day of Valor, the Day of Valor, April the 9th. You inspire me to want to retire earlier. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome, my friend. Many videos I've done already, F Sharp, where I talk about early retirement. I always tell people, if you can afford to retire financially, retire. Because I have not met a single person, 15 years retired here now, 4 years YouTube, meeting all these expats. I have never met a person that told me, man, I wish I was still working. Most of the people I meet will always tell me, dang, I could have done this 5, 10 years ago. I could have been living the life here in the Philippines 5, 10 years ago. I wasted all those years, because years that you can't get back. It's like, I do understand there's people, that during their life, maybe they got divorced, maybe something financial hit them during their life where they can afford to retire. And I understand that, but that's why they have to keep working till they're in their way, sometimes 60s, sometimes 70s even, right? But to me, man, life expectancy is like, for a male, is like 76 years old. And if I followed my full retirement age to Social Security at 67, I only have 67 to, I would only have 9 years of retirement to enjoy, and at 67, I know my body is not the same when I was in my 40s or 50s. That, like I said many times, you hit some earlier than most, but most of the time when you hit 60, sometimes earlier, that check engine light starts coming on, man, where all of a sudden, dang, your doctor is ordering a colonoscopy, ordering an MRI, ordering blood work. I'm like, they're looking for stuff that's wrong with you. It's like, you should, F Sharp. Fortune, yes, F Sharp. Do it and enjoy life. Yeah, do it. You will not regret retiring early, because I know in the US, the problem, I think they drilled it to Americans where you need $500,000, you need $1 million to retire. Yeah, maybe you do if you live in the US, right? But there are other countries. You can leave the United States and retire on a budget. Many people do it here in the Philippines and have amazing lives. People that have come here, Edgar, JP, they haven't even been here, 6 months. They've already met their Filipina. They got girlfriends now. They're, traveling a clan. It's like they're no longer alone in their life. In the U.S., a lot of times, when you get older in the U.S., unfortunately, unless you have money, a lot of times you don't have family. It's like, older people in the U.S. end up in nursing homes and end up in assisted living. Here in the Philippines, you have time, you come to retire here, you have time to meet a Filipina. Man, that Filipina's gonna take care of you. Until your deathbed, that Filipina's gonna take care of you. And that's all what we want, right? We don't want to end up in a nursing home. We don't want to end up in a assisted living, man. Who wants to go out like that? You want to go out with a Filipina, in your arm, still enjoying sunset walks on the beach, living with somebody, having a partner. It's like, my lolo, father's mother was World War II vet. All right, all right. He survived the death march. Woo, wow, wow. Tarlac. He told me stories, dying while marching. Wow, Fortune. I bet. Great stories there. There is almost always an opportunity cost with every action. Man, that's deep, man. That's deep, Vaughn. That's deep, man. I can tell, Vaughn, you read a lot of books. You read a lot of books, man, because some of your comments are deep, brother. He was a captain. He got malaria in detention camp. He said, one thing good, I've never gotten malaria, man. I can imagine how horrible. I haven't even, knock on wood, I haven't even gotten dengue fever here in the Philippines. I know that's another horrible disease. Hey, there's James and Karen's. James and Karen's Adventures. I just mentioned you earlier, James. Somebody here was asking about Starlink, and I told him, man, if you want to learn about Starlink in the Philippines, James is the expert, man. Residential, mobile, batteries, everything. James is the expert in Starlink in the Philippines. I'm planning to home Philippines for good. I'm 34 now. I live in Sweden. All right. Well, never too early to plan, but you're you're 34. One thing I have noticed is more and more foreigners are moving in the Philippines in their early 40s. It's like the dynamic that it used to be. The Philippines was a retirement destination, but more and more people now, it's like I'm seeing so many younger foreigners now. Maybe because of the online, the digital nomad, because I'm seeing more and more foreigners here, younger. Like I said, in their 40s or even younger, like even 34. If you can work as a digital nomad, man, the Philippines is like perfect. I have a friend in Dumaguete City. He used to work in Hawaii. His rent in Hawaii was like $2,000. His rent in Dumaguete City is $400. So he's saving $1,600 a month just on rent, and he's having a blast. He's having a blast in Dumaguete City, man. Then, because he was a good cook, a Japanese officer got him to, nice, in his camp house. He learned Nihongo, all right, Japanese language. Got his release, I think, in 42, he went home to Panay. All right, great story, man. Great story, Fortune. Your Lolo is a blessed, Fortune. Definitely, definitely. I'm just trying to see. Yeah, I think I covered that. Focus on the good. Focus on the good. It doesn't matter if you're in the U.S., you live in the U.S., any part of the world, here in the Philippines. Just focus on the good. I think, if you start focusing on negativity and focusing on all what the media is trying to push, it's like, get rid of that, man. To me, nothing is more priceless than my peace of mind, my happiness here. I'm not going to let anything ruin that. I'm not going to let anybody ruin that. That's why I said, it's like, when I feel like negativity or something from someone that's trying to be part of my life, I remove that in my life. I only want good expats, man. I want a good expats. Some of the angry expats, why would I want that in my life, man? But instead of hanging his pew-pew, he led a guerrilla team in the mountains of Panay until liberation. All right, all right. I know I've heard stories about that here from other expats, their grandfathers in Panay. There's like in Antique, there was like a resistance against the Japanese. Well, instead of pursuing his military career, he went back to FEU. Hey, that's where my mom graduated from FEU, man. That's Far Eastern University here in the Philippines. To finish, became a lawyer, practiced, then became Justice of the Peace in Antique. provincial. Oh, very nice. I think you mentioned that story before to me, Fortune. I like Gino. All right, I like Gino. After 60, that check engine light comes on. So true. I'm gonna use that analogy. Use it, man. I don't know where I got that because I just, I'm sure I got it from a thing on Facebook or something where it made sense to me. It's like, and unfortunately for some, it's even sooner, right? Even 50 sometimes, 55, that check engine light. Because you know what happens, when we get older, I remember once I hit, I tried to get a physical every year. I tried to get that done. Once I hit 50, all of a sudden, my doctor's asking me for all kinds of tests, looking for stuff, And then, like for most people that I talk to, and now I understand it because I'm going to be turning 60 here, my body just doesn't function the way it did when I was 45. When I came here to the Philippines at age 45, I lived in Boracay Island. Man, I was cliff diving. I was snorkeling. I was doing all kinds of, I was on my mountain bike, going up mountains, island hopping on my mountain bike, I felt invincible, right? At 45, but I'm not going to do those things now at 60, man. I don't want to break a hip, I never injured any piece of my body, I never broke any bones, and I'm not about to do that now, and I don't have the same reflexes now, it's like I can't handle my mountain bike like I used to. Definitely don't have the stamina anymore. Planning to go home for good after a few years from now. I'm so tired with all work, pay tax, bills, my life only. Yeah, for so many people, that's the cycle, right? That's why for me, I know I'm super blessed. I was able to stay in the military for 20 years and earn that pension. It's like probably one of the best decisions of my life because it allowed me to retire early here in the Philippines. Without my military pension, I couldn't retire here. I would have still been working in America for sure. But if for some way, it's like I was just talking to, I always get new people to contact me. Now it's June. He's in San Diego. He contacted me. He's 55, and he's like, man, as soon as I wrap up everything in the Philippines, man, I'm coming your way. I'm going to check out Boracay. I'm going to check out Calibo, and he's new. I've only met him online for like a week ago because he said my videos inspired him. And a lot of times, because like Joseph is saying, what kind of life is that when it's just work, home and work, that's your adventure, that's, and then what's even worse with that, Joseph, a lot of times you go through that cycle where it's work and home. And then all of a sudden you're still in your working years and you're not yet at Social Security age. And then you get sick, once you get sick and you can't do the things that you're able to do now, then, you don't have any stories to share, with other people, experiences, you don't have experiences to look back, I remember when I got sick with cancer, one of the things that kept me like, yeah, I have videos of it. You can see me when I was in Iloilo City going through my treatments, I was good with it. I had, I was sad, of course, because that's the last thing I expected, but I wasn't like depressed or anything because up to me, man, I was 56 when I got diagnosed with cancer, 45 when I moved here to the Philippines. Man, the way I looked at it, man, I've had 11 good years. Most people, if you tell them when they retire, when they stop working, if they get 11 years, they would be thankful, right? If the full Social Security age is 67, if you retire at 67 and you have 11 years, you're 78. You'll be grateful, right? You will be happy that you lived till 78 and you got to enjoy what's left of your life. To me, that's the thing when I got sick. Well, if this is it, this is it. I wasn't really I didn't get depressed. You know, you could see me even during my treatments. I would still walk down the Esplanade because for me, you know, I had a good experience. I was able to I had freedom. You know, to me, that's the main thing. Is when I retired, is you have freedom to do whatever you want. No longer a boss telling you no more deadlines, no more. I don't have to be anywhere that I have to be. Retirement is awesome, man. Most people here know this. You know, most people that are retired, they're loving life here. Good AM, James and Karen. Where are you guys? The last time I saw them, I saw their video, their live stream. James doing a live stream, leaving Leyte. He said he's gonna avoid Cebu City. So they're probably either in Cebu or headed to Bacolod. Great story, Fortune. Yes, Joseph, you can save a lot of money here from your retirement and just enjoy life. He was Region 6 Western Visayas Chief. The Boy Scouts, all right. I did the Boy Scouts in Letran. He became Vice Chair. NAMFREL. NAMFREL is like the election. People that watch the elections here in the Philippines. After his retirement. Okay. Thank you, Fortune. I will go home for good because I'm so tired of my life here in Sweden. Just working home. Yeah, I can see that, man. It's just that's a hard life when it's just working home. You know, it's like he became head of San Jose lay people. All right. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Fortune. Where are you in the Philippines, Joseph? Biliran. Late in his age, he finally got his American given you safety. All right. Good morning, Fortune. We are in Aklan. All right, you made it to Aklan. Dang, that was fast. Well, maybe the videos she showed us like delayed, but that was fast. I'm glad you made it safely back in Aklan, James. Good to hear that, brother. If I kept listening to you, I'm gonna put on Monday. Okay, yeah, you're gonna put in your paperwork on Monday if you're listening to me. You're right, Gino. Thanks. You understand what I mean. Nice. So back home, James. Great. All right. I reached the bottom here of the comments. I'm at the 2-hour mark. I usually end my live streams at the 2-hour mark. Thank you so much. We didn't lose internet. We didn't lose the power. I had my Blue Yeti power station, so it worked out. This live stream worked out. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining the live stream this morning. Everyone take care, and everyone stay blessed. Stay blessed, everyone.